Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Rabbi.
This week's parsha is Teitzei la milchama al oyevecha. So there are many commentaries that explain, since it says that you will go to war on top of your enemies, it should be you'll go to war with your enemies. Teitzei la milchama im oyevecha, with your enemies. Why I say al oyevecha, on top of your enemies? So this is telling you, Hashem is telling you that when you go out to war, you're already going out on top. You're already starting on top, that you're going to win. And therefore, Nisani Hashem Lakecha biyadecha, and Hashem will deliver them in your hands. So there is this idea that a person has to understand that not just there's a physical war, but there's always also a spiritual war that every single one of us we have in our lives, that we have to try to accomplish the good and stay away from the negative, from the bad. And this is a challenge that perhaps a person could say, oh, listen, it's impossible, I'm not able to do it, it's too much. So you should know, Teitzei la milchama, the person is going out to war, al oivecha, you're on top of your enemies. You have the capability, you have the ammunition, you have the strength, you have the courage, and you have the backing from Hashem to be able to do so. Do not give up, do not feel that you cannot do it. You should know that you have every amount of effort that you need. Hashem already gave you the koiches, the capabilities to do so. That's Teitzei la milchama al oivecha. That's number one. Another thing is, people at the end of the day, we're still human, and perhaps we still do mistakes even after we hear this. So Teitzei la milchama al oivecha goes even after a person lives their life. Teitzei la milchama al oivecha means to say like this: a person comes up to heaven, and a person's being judged, and they tell the person, listen, you did a lot of good things, but you did also certain things that are not so good. So you're going to have to be cleaned up. You should know that when it comes to be judging between the good and the good far outweighs the bad in many, many ways. One way it's explained is that the bad, you get cleaned up, you fix whatever you have to do, and then what's left? The only thing that's left is the good part. So Teitzei la milchama, you're eventually going to win the war. You're eventually going to win the war. You have it within the neshama, sometimes has to come back down and do a tikkun, but the end of the day, you're gonna get there. So you can look at it many ways. You can at least see that you know for sure you're going to win the war. Doesn't mean we should not do anything about it, but we should know that there are many, many ways of how, at the end, the story is going to have a good ending. And another thing is that even when a person didn't somehow succeed to get everything done, sometimes the future generations, they can attribute their mitzvahs. It also is a schus for the previous generations. If somebody lived 100 years ago, 200 years ago, his great-grandchild is now doing something that's positive, that is all a tribute to the previous generations, because that person comes from that person. So therefore, Teitzei la milchama al oivecha, there are many, many ways how the person will gain future mitzvahs to be able to eventually overcome the negative. So we shouldn't wait for the last second. We should know that we have the arsenal, and Hashem should help. We should be able to succeed and do the right thing and to encourage others, and we should be zeicha to the coming of Mashiach Tzidkeinu Amen.